Hey guys, so we have somebody reading to us today that is not me. I will read to you guys, but Austin wanted to read to you guys. So he's going to start with ex-friends. Make sure that you are following along for your exit ticket, okay? Here he goes.
What's up, guys? All right. I guess I'm reading to you guys ex-friends. Bear with me. All right, here we go. Bleeding scream. What the heck? Summer Dawson has always been a bit out there, but this was too much. All I did was ask her why August was acting like he was mad at me or something. I figured she would know. And all she said was, bleeding scream. I don't even know what that means. It's so weird because one day me and August were friends, and the next day, whoosh, he was hardly talking to me, and I haven't had the slightest idea why. When I said to him, "Hey August, you mad at me or something?" he shrugged and he walked away. So I would take that as a definite yes. And since I know for a fact that I didn't do anything to him to be mad about, I figured Summer could tell me what's up. But all I got from her was bleeding scream. Yeah, big help. Thanks, Summer. You know, I've got plenty of other friends in school, so if August wants to officially be my ex-friend, then fine. That is okay by me. See if I care. I've started ignoring him like he's ignoring me in school now. This is actually kind of hard since we sit next to each other in practically every class. Other kids have noticed and have started asking me if August and I had a fight. Nobody asks August what's going on. Hardly anyone ever tells him to anyway. I mean, the only person he hangs out with other than me is Summer. Sometimes he hangs out with Reed, Kinsley a little bit, and the two Maxes got him playing Dungeons and Dragons a couple times at recess. Charlotte, for all her good duty two-shoeing, doesn't even do more than nod hello when she's passing him in the hallway. And I don't know if anyone's ever still playing the plague behind his back, because no one ever really told me about it directly. But my point is that it's not like he has a whole lot of friends not like he has a whole lot of other friends he could be hanging out with instead of me. If he wants to diss me, he's the one who loses, not me. So this is how things are between us now. We only have to each other about the school stuff and absolutely have to. Like I always say, what did Ruben say the homework was? And he'll answer, or he'll be like, can I use your pencil sharpener? And I'll get my sharpener out of my pencil case for him. But as soon as the bell rings, we go our separate ways. Why this is good is because I get to hang out with a lot more kids now. Before, when I was hanging out with August all the time, kids weren't hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Or they would keep things from me, like the whole thing about the plague. I think I was the only one who wasn't in on it except for Summer and maybe the D&D crowd. And the truth is, though, nobody's that obvious about it. Nobody wants to hang out with him. Everyone's way too hung up on being popular group. And he's just as far from the popular group as you can get. But now I can hang out with anyone I want. If I wanted to be in a popular group, could totally be in the popular group. Why is this bad? It's because, well, A, I don't actually enjoy hanging out with the popular group that much, and B, I actually liked hanging out with August. So this is kind of messed up, and it's all August's fault.
All right. This is titled Snow. We'll see if Austin wants to read again. Snow. The first snow of winter hit right before Thanksgiving break. School was closed, so we got an extra day of vacation. I was glad about that because I was so bummed about this whole August thing that I just wanted some time to chill without having to see him every day. Also, waking up to a snow day is just about my favorite thing in the world. I love that feeling when you first open your eyes in the morning and you don't even know why everything seems different than usual. Then it hits you. Everything is quiet. No cars honking. No buses going down the street. Then you run over to the window and outside everything is covered in white. The sidewalks, the trees, the cars on the street, your window panes, and then that happens on a school day and you find out your school is closed. Well, I don't care about how old I get. I'm always going to think that that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those grown-ups that use an umbrella when it's snowing. Ever. Dad's school was closed too, so he took me and Jamie sledding down Skeletal Hill in the park. They say a little kid broke his neck while sledding down the hill a few years ago, but I don't know if this is actually true or just one of those legends. On the way home, I spotted this banged up wooden sled kind of propped up against the old Indian rock monument. Dad said to leave it. It's just garbage, but something told me it would make the greatest sled ever. So Dad let me drag it home, and I spent the rest of the day fixing it up. I superglued the broken slats together and wrapped some heavy duck white tape around them for extra strength. Then I spray painted the whole thing white with the paint I had gotten from the store I was making from the Egyptian Museum project. When it was all dry, I painted lightning in gold letters on the middle piece of wood, and I made a little lightning bolt symbol above the letters. It looked pretty professional, I have to say. Dad was like, "Whoa, Jackie, you were right about that sled." The next day, we went back down to Skeleton Hill with lightning. It was the fastest thing I'd ever ridden. So much faster than the plastic sleds we'd been using. And because it had gotten warmer outside, the snow had become crunchier and wettier. Good packing snow. Me and Jamie took turns on lightning all afternoon. We were in the park until our fingers were frozen and our lips had turned a little blue. Dad practically had to drag us home. By the end of the weekend, the snow had started turning gray and yellow, and then a rainstorm turned most of the snow to slush. When we got back to school on Monday, there was no snow left. It was rainy and yucky, and the first day back from vacation, a slushy day. That's how I was feeling inside, too. I nodded hey to August the first time I saw him. We were in front of the lockers. He nodded hey back. I wanted to tell him about lightning, but I didn't. The next chapter, really short. Fortune favors the bold. Do you want to read it, Austin?
I would love to.
Okay, I'm going to pass it over.
All right. Fortune favors the bold. Juan, you better be paying attention. Miss Brown's December precept was, "Fortune favors the bold." We were supposed to write a paragraph about some time in our lives when we did something very brave and how because it is something good that happened to us. I thought about this a lot. To be truthful, I have to say that I think the bravest thing I ever did was to become friends with August. But I couldn't write about that, of course. I was afraid we'd have to read these out loud, or Miss Brown would put them up in front of the bulletin board like he does sometimes. So instead I wrote this lame thing about how I used to be afraid of the ocean when I was little. It was dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else. I wonder what August wrote about. He probably had a lot of things to choose from. Guys, I'm going to read to you private school. Private school. All right. My parents are not rich. I say this because sometimes think that everyone who goes to private school is rich. But that isn't the truth with us. Dad's a teacher, Mom's a social worker, which means that they don't have those kind of jobs where people make gazillions of dollars. We used to have a car, but we sold it when Jamie started kindergarten at Beecher Prep. We don't live in a big townhouse or in one of those dorm-in buildings along the park. We live on the top floor of a 5-story walk-up where we rent from an old lady named Donna Petra, all the way on the other side of Broadway. That's code for the section of North River Heights where people don't want to park their cars. Me and Jamie share a room. I overhear my parents talk about things like, can we do that without air conditioner one more year? Or maybe, can I work 2 jobs this summer? So today at recess, I was hanging out with Julian and Henry and Miles. Julian, who everyone knows is rich, was like, I hate that I have to go back to Paris this Christmas. It's so boring. Dude, but it's like Paris, I said like an idiot. Believe me, it's so boring, he said. My grandmother lives in a house in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour away from Paris in this tiny, tiny, tiny village. I swear to God, nothing happens there. I mean, it's like, oh wow, there's another fly on the wall. Look, there's a new dog sledding on the sidewalk. Yippee! I laugh. Sometimes Julian can be funny. Though my parents are talking about throwing a big party this year instead of going to Paris. I hope so. What are you doing over break, said Julian. Just hanging out, I said. You're so lucky, he said. I hope it snows again, I answered. I got this new sled that is so amazing. I was about to tell them about lightning, but Miles started talking first. I got a new sled too, he said. My dad got it from Hamacher Schelmer. It's so state-of-the-art. How could a sled be state-of-the-art, said Julian. It was like $800 or something. Whoa! We should all go sledding and have a race down Skeleton Hill, I said. That hill is so lame, answered Julian. Are you kidding, I said. Some kid broke his neck there. That's why they call it Skeleton Hill. Julian narrowed his eyes and looked at me like I was the biggest moron in the world. It's called Skeleton Hill because it was an accident Indian burial ground. Duh, he said. Anyway, it should be called Garbage Hill now. It's so freaking junky. Last time I was there, it was so gross, like soda cans and broken bottles and stuff. He shook his head. I left my old sled there, said Miles. It was the crappiest piece of junk, and someone took it too. Maybe a hobo wanted to go sledding, laughed Julian. Where did you leave it, I said. By the big rock at the bottom of the hill, and I went back the next day and it was gone. I couldn't believe somebody actually took it. Here's what we can do, said Julian. Next time it snows, my dad could drive us all up to this golf course in Westchester that makes Skeleton Hill look like nothing. Hey, Jack, where are you going? I started to walk away. I've got to get a book out of my locker, I lied. I just wanted to get away from them fast. I didn't want anyone to know that I was the hobo who had taken the sled. Sarah's turn.
Slash Miss Myers.
Oh, Miss Myers.
All right, in science. I'm not the greatest student in the world. I know some kids actually like school, but I honestly can't say I do. I like some parts of school, like PE and computer class and lunch and recess. But all in all, I'd be fine without school. And the thing I hate the most about school is all the homework we get. It's not enough that we have to sit in class and after class and try to stay awake while they fill our heads with all this stuff we will probably never need to know. Like how to figure out the surface area of a cube or what the difference is between kinetic and potential energy. I'm like, who cares? I've never, ever heard my parents say the word kinetic in my entire life. I hate science the most out of all my classes. We get so much work, it's not even funny. And the teacher, Mrs. Rubin, is so strict about everything, even the way we write our headings on the top of our papers. I once got 2 points off a homework assignment because I didn't put that date on top. Crazy stuff. When me and August were still friends, I was doing okay in science because August sat next to me and always let me copy his notes. August has the neatest handwriting of anybody I've ever seen who's a boy. Even his script is neat, up and down perfectly with really small, round, loopy letters. But now that we're ex-friends, it's bad because I can't ask him to let me copy his notes anymore. So I was kind of scrambling today, trying to take notes about what Mrs. Rubin was saying. My handwriting is awful. When all of a sudden, she started talking about the 5th grade science fair project, how we all chose a science project, how we all had to choose a science project to work on. While she was saying this, I was thinking, we just finished the freaking Egyptian project. Now we have to start a whole new thing. And then in my head, I was going, oh no! Like that kid in Home Alone with his mouth hanging open and his hands on my face. That was the face I was making on the inside. And then I thought of those pictures of melting ghost faces I've seen somewhere, where their mouths are open wide and they're screaming. And then all of a sudden this picture flew into my head, this memory, and I knew what summer had meant by the bleeding scream. It was so weird how it all came down to me in the flesh. Someone in my homeroom had dressed up in a bleeding scream costume on Halloween. I remember seeing him a few desks away from me, and then I remembered not seeing him again. Oh man, it was August. All of this hit me in the science class while the teacher was talking. Oh man, I'd been talking to Julian about August. Oh man, now I understood. I was so mean. I don't even know why. I'm not even sure what I had said, but it was bad. It was only a minute or two. It's just that I knew Julian and everybody thought I was so weird for hanging out with August all the time, and I felt stupid. And I didn't know why I said that stuff. I was just going along. I was stupid. I am stupid. Oh, God. He was supposed to come as Boba Fett. I would have never said that stuff in front of Boba Fett. But that was him. That bleeding scream sitting at the desk looking over at us. The long white mask with the fake squirting blood, the wide open mouth, the gowl was crying. That was him. I felt like I was going to puke. Next one is Partners. Would you like to read?
Sure.
All right, Austin's going to read.
Partners. All right, guys, Partners. I didn't hear a word of what Miss Rubin was saying after that. Blah, blah, blah. Science fair project. Blah, blah, blah. Partners. Blah, blah. It was like the way grown-ups talk in Charlie Brown movies. Like someone talking underwater. Then all of a sudden, Miss Rubin started pointing to kids around the class. Reed and Tristan, Maya, Max, Charlotte, Zima, August, and Jack, she pointed to us when she said this. Miles and Amos, Julian and Henry, Savannah, and I didn't hear the rest. Huh? I said. The bell rang. So don't forget to get together with your parents to choose a project from the list, guys, said Miss Rubin as everyone started taking off. I looked up at August, but he had already put his backpack on and was practically out the door. I must have had a stupid look on my face because Julian came over and said, looks like you and your best bud are partners. He was smirking when he said this. I hated him so much right then. Hello, Earth to Jack, Will, he said when I didn't answer him. Shut up, Julian. I was putting my loose leaf binder away in my backpack and just wanted him away from me. You must be so bummed you got stuck with him. He said, you should tell Miss Rubin you want to switch partners. I bet she'd let you. No, she wouldn't, I said. Ask her. No, I don't want to. Miss Rubin, Julian said, turning around and raising his hand at the same time. Miss Rubin was erasing the chalkboard at the front of the room. She turned when she heard her name. No, Julian, I whisper, scream. What is it, boys, she said impatiently. Could we switch partners if we wanted to, said Julian, looking very innocent. Me and Jack had the science fair project idea and we wanted to work together. Well, I guess we could arrange that, she started to say. No, it's okay, Miss Rubin, I said quickly, heading out the door. Bye. Julian ran after me. Why'd you do that, he said, catching up to me at the stairs. We could have been partners. You don't have to be friends with that freak if you don't want to, you know? And that's when I punched him, right in the mouth.
My turn?
All right. Miss Myers is up.
Alrighty. Detention. Some things you just can't explain. You don't even try. You don't know where to start. All your sentences would jumble up like a giant knot in if you opened your mouth. Any words you used would come out wrong. Jack, this is very, very serious, Mr. Tushman was saying. I was in his office sitting on a chair across from his desk and looking at this picture of a pumpkin on the wall behind him. Kids get expelled for that kind of thing, Jack. I know you're a good kid, and I don't want that to happen, but you have to explain yourself. This is so not like you, Jack, said Mom. She had come from work as soon as they called her. I could tell she was going back and forth between being really mad and really surprised. I thought you and Julian were friends, said Mr. Tushman. We're not friends, I said. My arms were crossed in front of me. But to punch someone in the mouth? Jack, said Mom, raising her voice. I mean, what were you thinking? She looked at Mr. Tushman. Honestly, he's never hit anyone before. He's just not like that. Julian's mouth was bleeding, Jack, said Mr. Tushman. You knocked out a tooth. Did you know that? It was just a baby tooth, I said. Jack, said Mom, shaking her head. That's what Nurse Molly said. You're missing the point, Mom yelled. I just want to know why, said Mr. Tushman, raising his shoulders. It'll just make everything worse, I sighed. Just tell me, Jack. I shrugged, but I didn't say anything. I just couldn't. If I told him that Julian just had called August a freak, then he'd go talk to Julian about it. Then Julian would tell him how I had bad-mouthed August, too, and everybody would find out about that. Jack, said Mom. I started to cry. I'm sorry. Mr. Tushman raised his eyebrow and nodded, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he kind of blew into his hands like you do when your hands are cold. Jack, he said, don't really know what to say here. I mean, you punched a kid. We have rules about that kind of thing, you know? Automatic expulsion. And you're not even trying to explain yourself. I was crying a lot by now, and the second Mom put her hands around me, I started to bawl. Let's, said Mr. Tushman, taking off his glasses to clean them. Let's do this, Jack. We're out for winter break as of a new week away. How about you stay home for the rest of the week, and then after winter break, you'll come back and everything will be fresh and new and brand new, clean slate, so to speak. Am I being suspended? I snuffled. Well, he said, shrugging. Technically, yes, but it's only for a couple days, and I'll tell you that. While you're at home, you take the time to think about what happened, and if you want to write a letter to me explaining what happened, and a letter to Julian apologizing, then we won't even put any of this in your permanent record, okay? You go home and talk about it with your mom and dad, and maybe in the morning you'll figure it out a bit more. That sounds like a good plan, Mr. Tushman said, Mom, nodding. Thank you. Everything is going to be okay, said Mr. Tushman, walking out the door, which was closed. I know you're a nice kid, Jack, and I know that sometimes even nice kids do dumb things, right? He opened the door. Thank you, friend, for being so understanding, said Mom, shaking his hand at the door. No problem. He leaned over and told her something quietly that I couldn't hear. I know. Thank you, said Mom, nodding. So, kiddo, he said to me, putting his hands on my shoulders. Think about what you've done, okay? And have a great holiday. Happy Chanukah, Merry Christmas, and Kwanzaa. I wiped my nose with my sleeve and started walking out the door. Say thank you to Mr. Tushman, said Mom, tapping my shoulder. I stopped and turned around, but I couldn't look at him. Thank you, Mr. Tushman, I said. Bye, Jack, he answered. Then I walked out the door. Next chapter is Season's Greetings. Austin's going to read it to you.
All right, guys. Hope you guys are paying attention. Anthony, I know you're paying attention, buddy. All right, Season's Greetings. Weirdly enough, when we got back home and Mom brought in the mail, there were holiday cards from both Julian's family and August's family. Julian's holiday card was a picture of Julian wearing a tie, looking like he was about to go to the opera or something. August's holiday card was a cute old dog wearing reindeer antlers, a red nose, and red booties. There was a cartoon bubble above the dog's head that read, Ho, ho, ho! On the inside of the card it read, To the Will family, peace on earth. Love, Nate, Isabel, Olivia, August, and Daisy. Cute card, huh? I said to my mom, who hardly said a word to me all the way home. I think she honestly just didn't know what to say. That must be their dog, I said. Do you want to tell me what's going on inside your head, Jack? She answered me seriously. I bet you they put a picture of their dog on the card every year, I said. She took the card from my hands and looked at the picture carefully. Then she raised her eyebrows and her shoulders and gave me the card back. We're very lucky, Jack. There's so much we take for granted. I know, I said. I knew what she was talking about without her having to say it. I heard that Julian's mom actually photoshopped August's face out of the class picture when she got it. She gave a copy to a couple of the other moms. That's just awful, said Mom. People are they're not always so great. I know. Is that why you hit Julian? No. And then I told her why I punched Julian. And I told her that August was my ex-friend now. And I told her about Halloween. Alright, guys. I'm going to let Miss Myers read this next part called Letters, Emails, Facebook, and Text. But before, if you're digging this book, put your hands up and give me a little choo. That's right, Javon. You better do it.
Okay. Letters, emails, Facebook, texts. In the book, this is how it looks. Okay. December 18th. Dear Mr. Tushman, I am very, very sorry for punching Julian. It was very, very wrong for me to do that. I am writing a letter to him to tell him that too. If it's okay, I would rather not tell you why I did what I did because it doesn't really make it right anyway. Also, I would rather not make Julian get in trouble for having said something he should not have said. Very sincerely, Jack Will. December 18th. Dear Julian, I am very, very, very sorry for hitting you. It was wrong of me. I hope you're okay. I hope your grown-up tooth grows in fast. Mine always do. Sincerely, Jack Will. December 26th. Dear Jack, thank you so much for writing your letter. One thing I've learned after being a middle school director for 20 years, there are almost always more than two sides of every story. Although I don't know the details, I have an inkling about what may have sparked the confrontation with Julian. While nothing justifies striking another student ever, I also know good friends are sometimes worth defending. This has been a tough year for a lot of students, as the first year of middle school usually is. Keep up the good work and keeping the fine boy we all know you are. All the best, Lawrence Tushman, middle school director. To I. Tushman at Beecher School EDU. CC Jack Will and Amanda Will. From Melissa Albans. Subject Jack Will. Dear Mr. Tushman, I spoke to Amanda and John Will yesterday, and they expressed their regret at Jack's having punched our son, Julian, in the mouth. I am writing to let you know that my husband and I support your decision to allow Jack to return to Beecher Prep after a 2-day suspension. Although I think hitting a child would be valid grounds for expulsion in other schools, I agree such extreme measures aren't warranted here. We all know we have all known the Will family since our boys were in kindergarten, and are confident that every measure will be taken to ensure this does not happen again. To end, I wonder if Jack's unexpectedly violent behavior might have been a result of too much pressure being placed on his young shoulders. I am speaking specifically of the new child with special needs who both Jack and Julian were asked to befriend. In retrospect, and having not seen the child in question at various school functions and in class pictures, I think it may have been too much to ask for our children to be able to process all that. Certainly, when Jillian mentioned he was having a hard time befriending the boy, we told him he was off the hook. In that regard, we think the transition to middle school is hard enough without having to place greater burdens on hardships on these young, impressible minds. I should also mention that, as a member of the school board, I was a little disturbed that more consideration was not given during this child's application process to the fact that Beecher Prep is not an inclusion school. There are many parents, myself included, who question the decision to let his child into our school at all. At the very least, I am somewhat troubled that this child was not held to the same stringent application standards, i.e. interview, that the rest of the incoming middle school students were. Best, Melissa Pepper Albans. To Melissa, from Tushman. CC John Will and Amanda Will. Subject, Jack Will. Dear Mrs. Albans, thanks for your email outlining your concerns. Where I not convinced that Jack Will is extremely sorry for his actions, and where I not confident that he would not repeat those actions, rest assured that I would not be allowing him back to Beecher Prep. As far as your other concerns regarding our new student, August, please note that he does not have special needs. He is neither disabled, handicapped, or developmentally delayed in any way, so there was no reason to assume anyone would take issue with his admittance to Beecher Prep, whether it's an inclusion school or not. In terms of the application process, the advisor director and I both felt it within our right to hold the interview off-site at August's home for reasons that are obvious. We felt that this slight break in protocol was warranted, but in no way prejudicial in one way or another. To the application review, August is an extremely good student and has secured the friendship of some truly exceptional young people, including Jack Will. At the beginning of the year, when I enlisted certain children to become a welcoming committee to August. I did so as a way of easing his transition into a school environment. I did not think asking these children to be especially kind to a new student would place any extra burden or hardships on them. In fact, I thought it would teach them a thing or two about empathy and friendship and loyalty. As it turns out, Jack Will didn't need to learn any of these virtues. He already had them in abundance. Thank you again for being in touch. Sincerely, Lawrence Tushman. To Melissa, from John Will, C.C. Tushman, C.C. Amanda Will. Subject, Jack. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for being so understanding about the incident with Jack. He is, as you know, extremely sorry for his actions. I hope you do accept our offer to pay for Julian's dental bills. We are very touched by your concern regarding Jack's friendship with August. Please know we have asked Jack if he felt any undue pressure about any of this, and the answer was no. He enjoys August's company and feels like he has made a good friend. Hope you have a happy new year. John and Amanda Will. Hi, August. Jack Lope Will wants to be friends with you on Facebook. Jack Lope Will, 32 mutual friends. Thanks, the Facebook team. To Doggy Pullman at email.com. Subject, sorry. Message, hey August, it's me, Jack Will. I noticed I'm not on your friends list anymore. Hope you friend me again, because I'm really sorry. I just wanted to say that. Sorry, I know you're mad at me now. I'm sorry I didn't mean the stuff I said. I was stupid. I hope you can forgive me. Hope we can be friends again. Jack. I think Austin wants to read some text messages, so we're going to pass it even though it's in the middle of the chapter. Right there.
All right. Text messages. One new text message from August, December 31st, 4:47 p.m. Got your message. You know why I'm mad at you now. Did Summer tell you? One new text message from Jack Will, December 31st, 4:49 p.m. She told me bleeding scream as a hint, but I didn't get it at first. Then I remember seeing bleeding scream in the homeroom on Halloween. Didn't know it was thought you were coming at Boba Fett. One new text message from August, December 31st at 4:51 p.m. I changed my mind at the last minute. Did you really punch Julian? Another one new text message from Jack Will, December 31st at 4:54 p.m. Yeah, I punched him, knocked out a tooth in the back, a baby tooth. Next page. James, next page. One new text message from August, December 31st, 4:55 p.m. Why'd you punch him? Next text message from Jack Will, December 31st, 4:56 p.m. I don't know. Next text message from August, December 31st, 4:58 p.m. Liar. I bet he said something about me, right? Next text message from Jack Will. He's a jerk, but I was a jerk too. Really, really, really sorry for that. For what I said, dude. Okay, can we be friends again? Next text message from August at 5:03. Okay. Next text message from Jack Will. 5:04. Awesome. Next text message from August. But tell me the truth, okay? Would you really want to kill yourself if you were me? Next text message from Jack Will. No. I swear on my life, but dude, I would want to kill myself if I were Julian. Next text message from August. Laugh out loud. Yes, dude, we're friends again. All right, guys, we're going to go into reading Back from Winter Break. Back from Winter Break. Despite what Miss Tushman said, there was no clean slate. When I went back to school in January, in fact, things were totally weird from the second I got back to my locker room in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight-up kid. And I was like, yo, what's up? And he's basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker door and left. I was like, okay, that was bizarre. And then I said, hey, what's up to Henry? Who didn't even bother half smiling, but just looked away. Okay, so something's up. Dissed by 2 people in less than 5 minutes? Not that anyone's counting. I thought I'd try one more time with Tristan. And boom, same thing. He actually looked nervous, like he was afraid of talking to me. I've got a form of the plague now, is what I thought. This is Julian's payback. And that's pretty much how it went all morning. Nobody talked to me. Not true. The girls were totally normal with me. And August talked to me, of course. And actually, I had to say both Maxes said hello, which made me feel kind of bad for never, ever hanging out with them in the 5 years. I've been in their class. I hoped lunch would be better, but it wasn't. I sat down at my usual table with Luca and Isaiah. And I guess I thought since they weren't in the super popular group, but were kind of middle-of-the-road jock kids, I'd be safe with them. But they were barely nodded when I said hello. Then, when our table was called, they got their lunches and never came back. I saw them find a table way over there at the other end of the cafeteria. They weren't at Julian's table, but they were near him, like on the fringe of popularity. So anyway, I've been ditched. I knew a table switching was something that happened in 5th grade, but I never thought it would happen to me. It felt really awful being at that table by myself. I felt like everyone was watching me. It also made me feel like I had no friends. I decided to skip lunch and go read in the library. Miss Myers, you're up.
All right, guys, make sure that you complete your exit ticket. That's where we're going to stop. I hope you enjoyed this.